She never slows down. She doesn't know why, but she knows that when she's all alone, feels like it's all coming down. She won't turn around. The shadows are long and she fears if she cries that first tear, the tears will not stop.
So this is going to be my labor and delivery story. I've already recorded this once, however it was 20 minutes long, so I kind of want to shorten it. So at my 38-week doctor's appointment, which I was going twice a week, so I just considered my 38-week appointment anyways, but I had an ultrasound, everything looked good. I had a non-stress test and everything looked good there too. So my doctor, though, she wanted to do a membrane sweep. She asked me if she could do a membrane sweep, which I knew she was probably going to, just because they wanted to get her out. They diagnosed me with intrauterine growth restriction at 36 weeks when they found out that she was 5 pounds and 1 ounce. And she was in the 8th or 9th percentile. I think it was like the 8th percentile. And any baby below the 10th percentile is considered a IUGR baby, intrauterine growth restriction baby. However, I don't believe that I had it because genetics play a huge part. 90% of the time it's genetics. And considering that all my tests were coming back negative, I don't believe that I really had it. So she does the membrane sweep at 38 weeks. I allowed her to do that. That was not originally in my birth plan, but of course your birth plan doesn't always go as planned. So I decided to go ahead and do the membrane sweep and see what it would do. I didn't think that it was going to work anyways. So after my appointment, I still had about 2 hours left of work time that I had to go and do. And I started immediately having contractions. They were irregular contractions though, so I was like, well, they're probably, I'd read online that with the membrane sweeps you usually get irregular contractions. So I thought, well, it's probably just regular contractions. This is nothing. They started to become quite painful as I was leaving work. And I think a lot of my coworkers saw that I was in a lot of pain. So they're like, I think you're going to have this baby tonight. And I'm like, no, I've got 2 more weeks. There's no way. So when I went home, I made dinner, tried to stay in routine as much as possible. And then at 6 o'clock, we went on our usual walk that we usually do every day, which is a 2-mile walk around our neighborhood. And got back around 7. And I was having, contractions all throughout the day, all throughout the evening, from the time that I had gotten the membrane sweep up until I went to labor. But at around 7, I went downstairs, 7:30, went downstairs, rolled on my birth ball, and was, playing on the computer and watching YouTube videos and stuff. And then they started to get a little more painful, so I was like, well, I'll go lay down. Maybe they'll go away. If it's true Braxton Hicks, then they'll go away. When I went to lay down, they got even more intense. So they were throughout the evening, they were about 20 minutes apart. And then they started to become about 10 minutes apart, and they started coming closer and closer together. I wasn't really timing them, so I'm just kind of guesstimating at this. So then after they became more intense, when I was laying down, I got up and got into the tub to see if maybe that relieved some of the pain, because with my false labor, that really helped a lot. So I was just, taking the warm water, splashing it over my belly, and then all of a sudden my water broke in the tub. It was a huge pop. And a lot of people tell me that it's just a trickle when it first comes out. No, this was not like, this was like the movies where like the water breaks and a gush comes out, because a huge gush just came rolling out. And then when I got out of the tub, it was a trickle, a very fast trickle, and it was from the bathroom, a trail from the bathroom to the bedroom, And I just started screaming for my husband. My water had broken. I was standing there staring at myself in the mirror, and I just thought, my water has broken, the cushion is gone, now I'm going to have some really bad contractions. And as soon as the thought hit me, a really bad contraction hit, and it started off the top of my stomach and worked its way down. So I knew that this was like real labor, of course, because my water had broken and everything. So then I'm rushing around trying to get stuff in the car because we did not pack the car up. We had packed our things, but not the car. We should have, because it was a warning at 37 weeks when we didn't have all this stuff done. So then my husband had to call my grandparents, and I am still running around trying to I put a big pad on because I didn't want to get water all in the car. My husband's running around trying to get my daughter ready to go to the hospital because they had to take her there. They live an hour away. So it was just very chaotic. I get in the car and I'm timing my contractions. They're 2 minutes apart. They're lasting a minute. So I'm only getting 30 seconds to a minute to really rest and relax and regather myself. And I'm just screaming in the car, I want the epidural, I want the epidural. And on the way to the hospital, my husband had left my daughter's cup on the top of the car. That rolled off into the intersection. He jumps out. Of course, this is like 10 o'clock at night, so there's no cars around. He grabs the cup. Just very, very chaotic. So we get to the hospital about 10:15 or so. We have to check in through the ED. The ED is swamped. There's people in there. I'm screaming. People are scared of me. They grabbed a security officer to get the key to the quick service elevator, I guess you could call it. It's a trauma elevator that they can call with a key. So anyways, so we get on the elevator and I'm still having contractions. It's just horrible, horrible pain. We get up to the floor. And Brandon's like, oh, we surpassed the triage. I'm like, Brandon, my water has broken. They do not care about triage. And we had called the doctor and told her that my water had broken, and she was on her way up to see me and everything. So the nurse, when I got there, she checked me and I was 3 centimeters. She knew it was my water. She's like, oh, this is your water, definitely. It's still gushing out. By the time I got to the hospital, my huge pad was soaked with the fluid. So then they checked me. I was a 3. The doctor comes in, and this was only about 5 to 10 minutes later, and she checks me as well. She says that I'm between a 3 and a 4, and I can't remember what my effacement and all that was, but I just remember her saying I was between a 3 and a 4. So then I'm like, I am ready for my epidural now, even though I had planned for a natural birth. I needed that epidural. I was so scared and did not know what was going on. I had never gone into labor on my own. With my first one, I was induced, so I was just scared to death. So it was about 11:30 midnight before I even got the epidural, and they had to do a fluid bolus, which made my feet swell huge. I mean, they were just like really puffy afterwards, and I'm like, when is this gonna go away? So the epidural, at first it was dulling the pain, but it wasn't taking it completely away. And they're all looking at the monitors, and they're like, your contractions are coming hard and fast, and not giving you much of a break in between. We're gonna give you some more medicine getting like a little bit of bolus into the epidural, which I was a little afraid of, because with my last epidural, whenever they bolus medicine in, I would scream out in pain. Excuse me for a minute while I get Miss Hannah here. Come on, Hannah. Get that line out of your face. It's okay. It's okay. So, anyways, I got the epidural and everything, and it started working about 30 minutes after that, or 45 minutes really. And then they just kind of monitored me. They had me like laying flat because my blood pressure dropped, so they had to give me epinephrine to bring my blood pressure back up. They gave me oxygen because I was at 92%. and Hannah's heart rate was not doing very well with the contractions. It was dropping down, but then it would recover really fast, so they weren't too worried about it. So I had a really great nurse. She came in and she would roll me, every so often, just to get me moving around. So she'd roll me from side to side to side to side, and she's like, this will help your cervix dilate. We just don't want you to stall out in labor. And so I was really afraid because I had gotten the epidural at like 4 centimeters and did not know if I was going to even dilate any more than that because I got the epidural so fast. So then after about, I guess this was around 3:30, she came in and she said, I'm going to check you again to see if you progressed any. So they did give me a little time to progress. And she was checking me and she said that she could no longer feel my cervix. And it alarmed me because I didn't know what that meant. She said, you're 9 centimeters and you're like almost ready to push. Yours only like a small, one side of it was, my cervix was left. That was it. And she could feel Hannah's head at this point. She was definitely way down her pelvis. So she, going back a little bit, they only did like 1 in and out catheterization. I didn't have to have a Foley, which was great because with my induction I had a Foley because I had the epidural, but I did not get a Foley. She said that if I had to have more than 4 in and out casts, that I would have to have a Foley. However, I only had the one. So they want to keep your bladder empty because it helps with dilation. And so I just could not believe that I was a 9 because with my last one I only got to a 5 and that was it. And I just like bypassed the 5 very quickly. It was so fast. So then she called the doctor and the doctor said, well, I'll be there when she is delivering. So I was just ecstatic and a little nervous at the same time because I had heard stories of people getting to a 10 and then not being able to push the baby out. So around 4:35, they came back and checked me. I was fully dilated and her head was like right there. So she got me to do a couple practice pushes. She said, your pelvis is great. You're gonna be able to get this baby out. So I was very hopeful, but I was still nervous because I was just like, I gotta get this baby out now. I'm 10, I just gotta get her out. So they did a couple practice pushes and they did like the laboring down and all that. And I did some practice pushes and the baby's head was right there. I could see it, like they got the mirror so I could see it. And by the way, I didn't even give them a birth plan. I had it. And when we were at the pushing stage, we told them exactly what we wanted in that stage. They had basically gone by our wishes with all the beginning stuff. I was able to drink fluids during my labor. I was able to have Coke and popsicles, ginger ale, all that clear liquid stuff. So I was happy about that because with my last labor and delivery, I didn't get to drink anything except for ice chips. So I was happy that they were allowing me to have at least a Coke or ginger ale or something to keep my energy up. However, I did not have a lot of energy because I worked that day from 8 to 4:30. Gone to a doctor's appointment. I was just very worn out. So anyways, going back to the pushing, I pushed for about 15 or 20 minutes and then she was out. They said I was a great pusher for being a first-time vaginal birth person. So I just knew I had to get her out vaginally. I was not going to have a C-section being so close to having her vaginally. My doctor was just wonderful. When I first came in, she helped me breathe through the contractions. She stayed with me. She helped me focus until they could get the epidural to me. I have no idea because it was like an hour afterwards that I got the epidural how far dilated I was at that point because I was dilating so quickly. And my total time for like labor and delivery was about 7 hours, whereas with Ella it was like 14, and I ended up with a C-section. And then I did have a small tear, but it was in the inside and not on the outside. They did not have to do episiotomies or anything like that, and I don't think she would have anyways, because normally they just let you tear on your own. She did do perineal massage. I noticed when her head was coming down and trying to come out. So I think that helped a lot. But I did have a second-degree tear in the inside, and she said that it wouldn't be as painful because it was on the inside to go to the bathroom and stuff like that. So I'm 2 weeks out postpartum, and it's still like a little sore, but not really bad. The day after I had her, I went home. So I had her on a very early Tuesday morning, and I went home Wednesday afternoon. And I guess it was about 1:30, 2 o'clock. And I could walk down to the car. I wasn't having any pain then. I did not have to take any kind of narcotics. The whole time I just took ibuprofen. And I guess that's probably because I didn't have like a huge tear. But I just did not want any kind of narcotics because it just makes me so loopy. And I just wanted to be able to take care of her. And as far as breastfeeding goes, immediately after I had her, she latched on within 20 minutes. When she came out, I forgot to mention this, when she did come out, she only got an APGAR score of 5 because she was purple and she was not breathing. She was not crying or anything like that. I wouldn't say she wasn't breathing, but she just was not crying, and they took her immediately over to, because I originally wanted skin-to-skin contact and everything like that, and they had put her on my belly, and they couldn't leave her there because they had to take her over and check her out and put oxygen on her little nose. So they gave her some oxygen, stimulated her, and her color returned to normal. They brought her over to me. She was only over there maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and they brought her over to me, and I was the first one to hold her, which that was so important to me because I was the fourth one to hold Ella. So, anyways, but she latched on immediately. She was rooting around on my chest, which I had watched a video in my breastfeeding class of this and knew this was going to happen, but I just could not believe it was like happening, like my own baby was doing it. You see it on TV and you're like, oh, will my baby do that? But she did, and she nursed on each side for 20 minutes. And I was just so amazed. This experience was just so much better than my last experience. By this time in my pregnancy with Ella, I was experiencing postpartum depression, and I am not experiencing any symptoms of postpartum depression. I'm doing so good, and I feel great. And I think like the day after, I felt like I could go right back to work and do that. But it was just an amazing experience. And if I ever have another baby, that's the kind of experience I would like to have again. However, we do not plan on having any more babies. This is our last baby, which is kind of bittersweet, just because it's the last of everything. So experiencing everything. I think that's kind of why I wanted my pregnancy to go to 40 weeks, just because I wanted to experience the whole entire 40 weeks. But she came at 38 weeks, which is fine. If you guys have any questions for me, just let me know. And thank you for watching.